People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, and we are back. Guys, this week we have a Chicago talent that is known throughout the Midwest. I don't know how far it goes out past the Midwest, but from being out in Virginia, I hear stories about all these Midwesterners and all these amazing magicians out there, and it's like, man, I just want to see what it's like to perform out in that area. I feel like it's a different world. My wife was just watching Wizard of Oz, and I just feel like...
Wicked.
I know, but I just feel like, the carnival guy, it's just a different type of magic, and I don't understand, but I love it, and I want to be a part of it, and I want to know all about it. Everybody, today we have John Measner on. What's up, buddy? How are you?
How you doing, Wes? How's it going?
Are you the wizard? Do you know the wizard?
I used to know the wizard. Wizzo, the magician that was on Bozo Circus, Marshall Brodeen.
There you go.
He just passed away. He was a good friend of mine. I performed on Bozo Circus with him a couple times. And I'm good friends with his son, Marshall Jr. So, yes, so I do know the Wizzo.
Wow. So I saw on one of your promos of you doing I don't even know what the box was called, but it was a box illusion. Maybe you stuck light tubes through the box. It was a weird
that was
box. What do you call the box?
I call it was a neon light illusion. I was going to be speaking about that, not necessarily that, but the gentleman who helped me design it and who built it is named Walter Shepard, a little guy in Vandalia, Ohio. In my opinion, built some of the best magic equipment in the world. I own almost one of every piece, couple pieces each of he made. Made my zigzag, he made that, and it's incredible equipment. And I've got a piece right behind me I could show you and pull in. I mean, it's incredibly built. He would throw his equipment over his double-wide trailer, Balloon to Bunny, and the only thing it would do is chip a little bit of the paint. That's how well built it is.
Wow.
So his name Walter Shepard. He passed away, oh my gosh, at least 10 years ago now, maybe more. But I was very good friends with him out in Vandalia, Ohio.
So I remember seeing, and the reason the introduction was so weird, I think of Midwest, and I think of like a Jim Steinmeier quote, and I think it was Jim Steinmeier, but he was talking about just picking up a prop, and he was showing the prop and said, this was a 100-miler. In the Midwest, they would work a 100-mile radius their whole life, and they would make their own cans out of coffee grounds, and they would coffee ground cans and paint it and design it, and they would perform illusions with this. And I think in my head, that's what you guys are, but it's not. I know it's not, but that's what I think when I think of Chicago.
There were a few that were.
Kansas.
One of the guys that was very famous for that, who was an excellent builder as well, Jim Summers. He got in trouble because he would make other people's stuff, But Jim was an innovator, and he could take coffee cans and make it into an illusion, and have it break down, too. It wouldn't be solid. He was ingenious with that. He passed away about 3 years ago. But Jim was a fantastic
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
You
and
break
fantastic
down.
performer.
Oh, no. She said, oh, no, and you said break down. I said, no, in a good way, honey.
I
Don't
got
pack
you.
flat.
I got
Oh,
you.
yes, it packs flat.
Yeah, he's ingenious. I'm misunderstanding that. But yeah, I got you. Break it down and pack it up.
Yeah. In my world in Chicago, a lot of people like the pack flat, play big scenario.
Yeah.
And there's only a few of us, including me, that like pack big, play big. I like illusions. I have animals. I do strolling magic, so I do like the smaller stuff. But for my stage, I like the bigger stuff. Like I've seen some of yours, and you're kind of like me. You like the prop magic. Lately, all I see is, and I call it, no offense to anybody out there, they do a fantastic job, and I'm just a guy in Chicago. I call it card and paper magic. So basically, the whole show is cards and handwritten props that are on the stage. I don't want to offend anybody that does have handwritten props, but I try to have a prop show where when people walk in and look at my setup, they go, "Wow, this is going to be a magic show." So that's me. I'm old.
I know, but I think of it as I'm a magician in the audience going to see your show. It's weird when you show up with a briefcase to do a magic show. Are you a mentor?
I agree.
Are you a magician? What are you?
Right. It's funny you mentioned Jim Steinmeier because I was at Abercorn-Dabber in Iowa last year, and Jim and Alex Ramon were having a conversation, talking, question answer, and I can't remember the whole situation, but it prompted me to ask Jim, who are the people that are not wanting the magic shows of illusions and props, and who's telling the magicians we only want smaller card tricks? If I see another stage act that needs a video and a video screen to do their stage act, that kind of upsets me because that's not a stage act. I get it in the middle of a show, doing a close-up bit, fine, but not a whole show where you need the video. And I've seen many of that where they do their stage act and you need video. And so I asked Jim that question, and he kind of bounced around the answer. He really didn't have an answer of who it was. Basically, it's magicians who don't want the bigger props. Oh, they're old school, they're this. In my experience doing my illusion shows and my shows, even a home birthday party that I do all my animals, doves to dog, and all that beautiful props, quality looking props. I get and that's why I work so much, because I do get the great responses. So the lay people, at least my lay people that I perform for, and that's corporate, that's home parties, that's communions, fairs and festivals with my show truck. I've got my own box truck that turns into an outdoor theater in 25 minutes, full stage sound. I'm generator operated. People come and want to see that show because I bring them to them. And I'm at a lot of fairs and festivals in Chicago because I bring it in. They see a big magic show.
Yeah, I mean, Shin Lim comes to mind, right? But
right.
Cruise ships kind of promoted that as well because they didn't want to pay to ship equipment. So I think I'm trying to answer Jim Steinmeier's question. He's way smarter than I am. But I think it was cruise ships, and now, I mean, look at shipping just in general. Try to buy a square circle from Abbott's to get it to Virginia. You're going to pay as much for shipping as you would for the prop.
Yeah, problem is Abbott's doesn't. That's the other thing. We go to Abbott's. We were supposed to go to Abbott's last week. Me and my marketing director and a couple of friends. We go there I'm 2 hours away, so we talk to Greg all the time. And unfortunately, Greg does not have any big props anymore. When I walked in when I was a kid at Abbott's, the middle was sanctioned off of all these gorgeous props, flowers and illusions and this. And unfortunately, it's not like that anymore. Abbott's really doesn't make a lot anymore. They ship it out. Rocky Clements out in your area, I believe he's a little further south than you. He's making a lot of props, soft glass, a haunted Hank trick, pretty props. But they are drop shipped basically to Abbott's, or Abbott's drop ships them to the customers. So Abbott's is not making a lot. The great thing that Abbott's is still doing is flowers. I don't know if you ever heard of Marshall Flowers. I didn't know Marie before she passed away, but I knew Dr. B, Charlie Bronstrup, and I'm friends with Richard Hughes, who took both. Richard Hughes kind of broke off from Marshall, and Dr. B actually took Marshall over. And so, but Abbott still, I think, makes the best botania. I love their botanias. I've got like 5 of them, but they're just gorgeous props. I'm a flower guy. I love flowers. Al Delage's fastest trick in the world, triple floral from Marshall. So they do that fantastic still. Abbott still does flowers fantastic. And they still do silks wonderfully too. But as far as big props, Abbott's is out of that. Owens is gone, as you probably know. Chalet, obviously, George has passed away just recently. There's not many manufacturers except Smoky Mountain. I'm friends with Dan over at Smoky Mountain. He's still making, some of the illusions, some of the props. A little bit that's more custom order. He's got a few that he does make on a regular basis, walking through steel, shoe burning trick, things like that. But there aren't the plethora of illusion companies that you could walk into like you used to with Owens and Abbott's and that.
Well, and also, I'm friends with some builders, and, they love calling out people that have knockoff or rip-off versions as well. And if you're just buying from another magician saying, hey, that's a sawing in half, how much is it? I can afford that. You buy it, and then everybody online is calling you a bad guy because you bought a knockoff version. I didn't know I needed rights for that, and it's hard to get into the business without knowing everything. I mean, you have to, I don't know, it's a whole other world.
Yeah, everything's has been out there for so long. I mean, obviously there's a couple very protected tricks. Interlude's very protected. Origami is very protected. Jim Summers got in big trouble. Back to when he redesigned Harbin Zigzag. However, he redid it, but he did it better. He was a genius. I don't know if you remember the original Harbin Zigzag, which I saw in England. I was able to get into the Magic Circle. That was like a thrill. And they have a Harbin Zigzag, and they have a bar that is holding the top and bottom half up. So when the middle comes out, there's a bar in there, and when the girl gets in, she has to duck under the bar to get in the box. Jim redesigned that and got rid of that bar. So he's the one that did that, but he got in trouble because he could take a picture, and from that picture, he could measure it out that this was this big and this was this big and make it, So and he never worried about what anybody said, because and he said, and I'm not condoning, I'm just stating facts. But he said nobody has copyrights on anything. You change one thing and it's done. You change how something is done. There's no trademarks, no copyrights in magic. It's just all of, I guess the honor system that you don't steal anybody else's props. So,
it's such
but,
I don't want everybody coming down on me. But Wes Iseli, I'm terrified. I don't want everybody coming down. It's such a small. We're such a small group of people. I remember, I think it was Jim Summers that there was an article in my garage. I have thousands of magic magazines, but he was the one that, everybody came down on him, and he saw that done at a convention and went home and built it. Is that correct? Is that what I'm remembering?
Yeah, Jim did that.
Yeah. So
let's
rewind your story and go back. How'd you get started in magic? What was your start?
Okay, well, I started, obviously I'm in the south side of Chicago. I don't know if you remember a TV show called The Gong Show. Chuck Barris, excuse me, it was better than what America's Got Talent is now. The Gong Show had real acts, and then they had novelty acts, and it was just fantastic. And they would have, the B celebrities, if they didn't like them, they would gong them, if they didn't like the act. It was a great show. Go Google YouTube old Gong Show. Funny stuff. Anyways, there was a little restaurant by me that did the Gong Show at the local thing. You could win $100. And so I was in 5th grade, and my buddy in 5th grade had 5 magic tricks, and I just said, "Hey, let's go on that show, and I'll be your assistant, and we win $100." This is where my head was in 5th grade. So it ended up, my dad, who was a fireman and retired, another story. He retired when he was 62. He had me when he was 50. So at 12 years old, I had my dad retired, which is great. And so he took me to a magic shop called Izzy Rizzy's Trick Shop in the south side of Chicago. Bought me a few tricks. My buddy and I went on that show. We won 2nd place, and I got hooked. And my dad, kept going to Izzy's. My dad kept buying me tricks. Then, right across the street from Izzy Rizzy's was the original Little Bit of Magic. That was the premier magic lounge in Chicago. Izzy Rizzy's Mike Grzminski owned that as well. So after I bought everything Izzy's had, Mike at 13 years old gave me a job at the trick shop. So I was working the trick shop, and then one Friday night, I did a show here and there, and then one Friday night, Mike said, "Johnny, I need you to do the kids show at the lounge tomorrow." I go, "Absolutely." So I really wasn't prepared to do a stage show. I had all my props. So that morning, my mom and dad, we went out. They bought my first crushed brown corduroy 3-piece suit for the show. I put all my show tricks in a clear plastic shoe boxes, took my trifold dragon table, and I went and did the show. And right after the show, Mike came up to me and said, "Johnny, you're here from now on Saturdays. The other guy's going to work the shop." He saw something in me, and then it ended up where I was doing the shows every Saturday there. Then I would stay at Little Bit of Magic after my show in the afternoon, and I would start doing strolling magic till 2 in the morning, doing close-up magic. Now, who was I working with there? Rich Purpura, Bill Weimer, Dave Meyer, Rich Kazmarek, and Bill Malone. Bill Malone started at Bit of Magic. He was just he's a few years older than me, but Bill kind of took me under his wing, and I ended up taking lessons with Bill 13 years old, and we worked the lounge together. You know, I would work on some Saturday nights, some Friday nights till one. Like I said, my dad would come pick me up. I couldn't even drive. I was 13, 14 years old, and that little bit of magic closed in '79, so I only got about maybe a year there. But it was great experience. You can't get that anywhere else. You know, I was at 13 years old. So and learning from Bill Malone, you know.
What was this? What was the Saturdays like? Was that people coming off the street to see the show, to buy tickets for a family show at Saturday, or was that birthday party?
Well, right. The Saturday afternoon was birthday parties. You know,
Okay.
you come in, get. I can't remember. I think you got a hot dog. We didn't have pizza at that bit of magic, but hot dogs, burger, Coke. Then you get a show. At night, it was just like a comedy club style. People would come in, have drinks, there was dinner, and we'd always do 2 shows. That bit of magic, the original one, Wednesday night, I think, was family night. Thursday night, we had a great hypnotist named John Lautrec. He was there every Thursday. Then every Friday night, there would be 2 stage shows, like 8 and 10:30 or 8 and 10, and there'd always be a magician and a comedian, or a magician and a juggler, a magician, and a ventriloquist, you know, and then variety acts. There were there too. So we do 2 shows Friday night, 2 shows Saturday. I never worked the evening shows because I was too young. I did do the strolling magic though. You know, I did close-up magic there, but I never worked the evening shows. I just did the stage shows at that lounge during the day. So it's just like a comedy club, and I mean, we had great things. You know, when you walk into Bit of Magic, when the back door closed, now you're surrounded by a brick walls, and you can't get in. And there was a lantern there, and all of a sudden someone would be talking to you out of nowhere. Hey, welcome here, blah blah blah. And then finally you'd pull the lantern, open up, and you'd get into Bit of Magic. Kind of what the Chicago Magic Lounge does with the laundromat. You know, you walk in, it's a laundromat, and then the secret door opens up for the laundromat. They even use Bit of Magic's font that in there to pay on a little bit of magic. But yeah, we did that with the brick wall. So it was a great. And then that closed in '79, and then '82 to about '84, a second one opened up with one of the partners, Bill Stesich. I worked that one, and then '86. Mike Rosminski, the original owner, called me, and myself and Bill Weimer and a couple others reopened the original Little Bit of Magic. So I was one of the partners in there, and we worked that one for about 2 years. I was in that. Owning a lounge was a lot more than I needed because I was an entertainer. But you learn a lot. And so, but I hired a ton of entertainment, got to know a lot of good working magicians and comedians and ventriloquists, because I would hire most of the entertainment at the lounge, as well as you got to run it. You're the manager that night, yada yada. But we were still in the '80s. The premier magic lounge in Chicago was the third one that I owned.
Well, you reached out to me. You mentioned you're friends with my buddy Chesaday. How far away is he from you?
Oh, yeah. Me and Ches go back a long time. Me and Terry Evanswood. We all kind of grew up together. I took Chavez with Neil Foster.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, my class in 1988 was the last class with Neil. Neil passed away, unfortunately, after our 11th class. It was 20 weeks, 11th class. He passed away. As good friends with Neil, going to Abbott's all the time. And Chris Jakeway finished off our class. So I was lucky enough to get 11 weeks with Neil, and he taught a lot in that 11 weeks. So, and then I would go up with Terry Evanswood. I would go up there and hang out there with, because he was taking it with Chris Jakeway a little bit later. So I would hang out with Terry, and then Chesaday and I are just great friends. I'll be honest with you, Chesaday is a great builder of magic. The gentleman Walter Shepard that I spoke of earlier, he taught Chesaday how to build. And believe me, Chesaday has fixed many of my Shepard props. I had one prop and it fell off. A wind took it. It fell off the stage. As a matter of fact, it's the same prop as this one over here, because I have 3 of them. I don't know if you can see it in that. Can you see that? No.
That's the
Oh,
that's the dog. I can't see it, but I saw you on your profile.
Yeah, it's a Dubs the dog, Dubs the rabbit. There we go, a little bit. I mean, you can see it's all hand painted and stuff. But my other one fell off the stage to the side, and it just got the corner badly. And Chesaday was worried if he could fix it, but man, he did a great job. So Chesaday's an excellent builder, excellent designer, and artist too. He draws really well. So we've been friends for 40 years in this business. And oddly enough, there was a show in Chicago called Kidding Around on Channel 5. It was a big show, and they highlighted kids in Chicago doing dancing and magic and everything, and I happen to watch it every week. And I go, I want to be on there. So I called NBC. I was in 8th grade. I called NBC and said, I want to be on Kidding Around. They said, sure. So I went in. My dad took me in, and I was on Kidding Around. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember, Chesaday was also on there. I can't remember if he was on there before me or after me, but that's how we started to become friends. They go, hey, I remember seeing you on Kidding Around, you know. So, but yeah, he doesn't live far. He lives 40 minutes from me in Naperville, and I live in Blue Island, Illinois. So,
I knew
yeah,
Carol was an
Chesaday's
artist. I didn't know Chesaday was. I knew Carol was an artist. I didn't know Chesaday was. So.
Yeah, Chesaday draws great. Yeah, he does. Yeah, I don't think he'd ever do like face paint or anything, but he can really draw. I mean, any of his props that you see, he's drawn on there. I mean, that's his designs and yeah.
All right. So besides, you have dogs and doves in your show.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I have doves and dogs. And, you know, I was going to grab him. I didn't get a chance. I got a bearded dragon in my show. He's a bearded dragon's a really cool little reptile. I do a whole routine. I got a prop from Ozark Magic. As a matter of fact, they do build stuff. Ozark Magic, nice props. Really cool little box. I do it with a Song of Ice and Fire from Game of Thrones, and wear a Chinese robe, and then I do a little fire out of it, and then I produce this bearded dragon. He's orangish in color. He's in the other room. I could go grab him if I got time. But yeah, so I use the doves and the dog, and then the bearded dragon, and now everybody wants to see the poodle. But now with the bearded dragon, everyone wants to see bearded dragon, and Brule, my poodle, is kind of went to the to the back row with that. But Brule's my 5th poodle in my show. So I've been using poodles for, my first one was 17, my second one was 13, and my third one was 12, and now I got Brule. And then I did a 2-dog show where I produced birds, they change into the dog, and I split her into 2 dogs. And the second dog did circus tricks, jumps through hoops, walks up ladders, that type of thing. And I did that on Bozo's Circus in that infancy of that part of it where my youngest poodle wasn't quite ready. And unfortunately, I'm probably the only one, if not the only one, that actually swore on Bozo Circus. Because the dog wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. They were supposed to turn my mic off. And when I went down to pick up the dog, I happened to effing dog. And you can kind of hear it, but if you rewind it, it's clear as day at that point. Now, it's not my fault they didn't edit it out, and they aired me 3 times with it like that. So, hey, whatever. I asked Alan Hall to take it out, the producer. He wouldn't. So, hey, but at least I got a cool video, which I cannot put that one on YouTube. However, I do have one the year before that I haven't put up yet, but it's still good from Bozo Circus.
That's awesome, man. So, at the end of my show, I take pictures. She's selling merch. My kids babysitting my other kids. My 13-year-old babysitting 4-year-olds. And I have a dove and a bunny, and they come up and pose with me with the animals. And and leave, right? What are you holding? Are you holding the bearded dragon now, the dog, or is it just you? It sounds like you were holding the dog.
Well, when I do the dragon,
bearded dragon.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I do a lot of theater shows. I do my fairs and festivals, but a lot of my shows are communions and birthdays and things like that. I call it in the trenches. I'm in the trenches. I don't have, who knows how I'm going to set up. I have to set up backdrop, sound, blah, blah, blah. I can still set up a whole show in 12, 13 minutes and do 5 doves and a dog full complete act with backdrops and everything. So I'm what I call in the trenches. And because I'm busy, on a Saturday or Sunday, I could be doing 3 or 4 shows. And I've never had a lot of time for back of the room sales. And I'm not, the closest thing I get, like birthday parties, if I make balloons for the kids, I'll make a balloon poodle so they don't get crazy with, I can do balloons, but I don't make tons of different ones. So I will bring the dog out, put him on the table, and I'll make him a balloon dog, and they're on their way. So that's kind of just an add-on for my birthday party, so they get to pet the dog. A lot of times I do not have time for them to pet the animals. The bearded dragon, I give them a little bit of time real quick, but I've got to pack up and boom and get out to the next show. Now, like I said, my fairs and festivals, I have more time. I've been starting to sell kits and things like that. I do have a little bit more time between shows, but the vast majority of my shows, I'm bam, bam. It's one to the other. So.
Well, for our birthday party package that we used to do, we always used to make a variety of balloons, but they'd be in a garbage bag, and we dump them after we left. We give it to the mom and have them dump them after we leave. Because if they all start popping
Right.
on the grass, they're gone. I don't want to be rebuilding these things, and I don't want this line to be 20 hours long. I don't want to do line work like that.
Right.
So we always pre-made them. So that's an idea. If you want to show variety, get the garbage bag. And you get 20 kids there.
Well, actually, for the bigger shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the bigger, for like communes now where they're going to have 20, 30 kids, I do pre-make them. I mean, partly because I got to get out of there anyways. I don't have time to make balloons. But I mean, for the smaller birthdays, if I got 10 or 12 kids, I can do 15 poodles in about 5 minutes. I can crank on them. They're nice poodles. They're not the 3-twist dog poodles either. They're nice poodles, the feet, the little balls, and everything. So they're still nice poodles, but I can crank through them pretty quickly. But yeah, like you just said, that's a great idea with the garbage bag. And they like to come up. They grab a dog out of there, they pet the dog, and then the real dog, and then they're on their way. So, but that's for the birthdays. But again, in Chicago, you're talking about Midwest. I feel. I've traveled a lot. I used to travel more with my fairs and festivals with my show truck. But driving, I don't need to unless they really pay a lot. But I am so busy in Chicago, I don't need to. Chicago is such a mecca. I don't think I could do anything like I do in any other part of the country. We've got what's called Chicagoland. There is nowhere in the country that's called land. It's not Las Vegas land. It's not Los Angeles land. Chicagoland. Not only we have Chicago, we've got western, southern, and northern suburbs that go far out. We take in northwest Indiana, and we take in southeast Wisconsin. And for me, that's all. I can get to the furthest points within an hour, maybe an hour drive. Not a big deal. But there is so much out there. And then you get everything. You got trade shows with McCormick Place. You got the big hotels. The banquet rooms are a plethora of banquet rooms. So you got communions, you got baptisms, you got weddings, you got so much. And then again, home birthday parties. Cub Scouts are this year. Cub Scouts must be back a little because I've done 5 balloon golds this year, which 5 doesn't sound like a lot, but you know what? We used to do 12, and the Scouts are gone. There's not as many packs, so the Scouts are coming back. But it's all within this area. I don't have to travel 2-3 hours to go to do shows. I can go up north, do a show, go down south, do a show, and then go back up north to do a show, and that in one day. But I just feel I couldn't do and make the same money in any other part of the country. I could be wrong, but I mean, what other cities? LA and New York are only bigger than us, than Chicago, but the nightmare of traffic there, and Chicago's congested, but I can get myself around, and it's not as bad as LA and New York. So there's where you may think of like kind of the Midwest magic, where everything else in the country is a little bit more spread out.
That's why we travel around in an RV. It's 3 hours. We're in the car for 6 hours for one show because it's 3 hours up, 3 hours back, and we're in, it's way spread out here. I'm jealous.
Right.
In my head, Midwest is Kansas, right?
Yes.
It's
wide
ours.
open.
Yeah, well,
We're not metropolis, and I'm jealous because I want that much. Yeah, I want that.
Right.
I have to take everything to do everything. So
I mean that's it.
Homes and birthday parties and theater shows and resorts. I do it all. I don't care. You pay me. I'm there. I don't give discounts for nursing homes.
I'm there.
If I go on rate, I'll book them.
Yeah, exactly.
So many magicians poo-poo. Oh, I don't do that.
I mean, that's what we got here.
Yeah.
No, there's, I'll tell you one thing, but I always used to say, I drive for a living, and then every once in a while I stop and do a magic show. So that's one of my little funny things. But I mean, there's a couple guys that were pigeonholed. A couple good friends of mine were just corporate. He'd never do schools, and I'm big. I love schools. I do a ton of schools. And I'll never do. It's only corporate. Well, unfortunately, at one point, his biggest companies were Arthur Anderson, Enron, and whatever that else went out under. And once those went under, he had nothing that quick.
Yeah.
And I've never pigeonholed myself into one genre. I can do. You give me any audience, family, adults, corporate, children, seniors. I can entertain them all. Because one thing my marketing director, Dean Vitale, Vital Need Marketing, says. Do something that's amazing. Do amazing stuff. If you do amazing stuff, it doesn't matter the audience. They're going to go, wow. you know? And that's what I try to put in my show. Everything has to be a wow. Even if I don't like it, if it's a wow, it's a wow on my show. I'll give you an example I'm not a comedian. I mean, I have funny bits in my show. My show's funny. Never consider myself a comedian. To me, the only one that I could think that does strong magic and comedy is Matt Keane. There's a lot of guys out there that are hilarious, but the magic is like, oh, okay, he produced a toilet paper out of an envelope or something, you know. And there's a lot of guys that do great magic, but not the funniest. I'm pretty much in between. I'm fairly funny, but still amazing. Matt Keane just nails it where he is. The magic is so strong, and he's hilarious. He is one of the few, and that's why he's out in Vegas and doing all that. But it's hard to do those two combinations. So I always try to keep that happy medium, but make it more on the amazing side.
All right, so you said something a second ago. Even if it's magic I don't like, I put it in for the wow factor. What do you do that you don't like? Is there a part of your show that you have that the audience likes, but you are over?
Well, yeah, I shouldn't say I don't like. I don't know if you know what a sword of creation is. It's a frame with two panels that come up, and I've got a Shepherd one, which is absolutely gorgeous. I'm sorry I talk about Shepherd a lot. His equipment is gorgeous, and I'd love to show you guys that sometime. But it's a thin frame. You put a sword in the middle, close it up, spin it around, open it up, and 4 doves are now on the sword. Really? I mean, to me, it's like,
Mine might be fair, but it's a magic wand dowel that goes in the middle.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I look at that and I go,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the first time I did it in a show, people went, whoa! And I'm like, probably my face the first time I did it was like, really? So as a magician, I look at some stuff and go, this is easy. But when I put it in the show and people go, whoa, how do you do, I'm like, really? And people don't do, hardly anybody has the Temple of Benares anymore. So I can say, I very rarely use the Temple of Benares as the Temple of Benares. What I do is I wheel the Temple of Benares out on stage with the swords in it, doors open. The show starts, I have a torch for Torch to Cane. By the way, Huracan are the best appearing canes in the world. Don't let anybody tell you. Huracan, he doesn't make them anymore, but if you find a Huracan cane from Japan, buy it. Best appearing cane. Anyways, Torch to Cane. I put the torch in the opening of the temple. Boom, Torch to Cane. Put it in the thing. Spin it around. Close it up. Whip the swords out. Bam! My assistant appears. And I go, okay, I'll produce a girl in the beginning. First time I did that, when she popped out, I mean, this is a corporate event, and my face again dropped because of the reaction I got from the audience. I'm not embellishing. I don't need to embellish. This is just facts that happened. And I go, really? Now, that prop was sitting out there for 5 minutes before the show started, so she was in it a while. Sorry, but it was an amazing thing. So the temple is an okay trick. Throw her in, put this, and no offense if you do it, I'm sorry. Put the swords in, gone, take swords out. It's okay, But I go, let's just do it something a little differently. Let's just get it in, get it out, and I'll tell you, the reaction on the production is more than I ever got just using it as a temple. So again, things like that I look at.
We have a temple and a dollhouse that you just take the top off and you have the other. It came together as a set. Have you ever performed temple?
Yeah.
No, it didn't stay very long, but yes.
We didn't get reaction.
We did temple, and then the dollhouse was better.
The dollhouse was way better because I produce a 6-inch doll, and then I produce a 2-foot Raggedy Ann doll, and then she comes out dressed as Raggedy Ann. So people love it.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, I was at this thing called the Butt Cracker. It was a striptease Christmas show. It was very good, very well produced. But they had a dollhouse that was a dollhouse or temple, I can't remember. But it was a gingerbread house.
Okay.
So I kind of got a picture of it. They said don't take pictures. And when I started to take a picture, my son hit my hand down. But I think I got it. But it was really cute. It was literally a gingerbread house that they changed over and did the temple or dollhouse with it. I can't remember, but yeah, you can rearrange it a little bit. But the production was just tremendous with it.
That's awesome. So you mentioned your.
So I mean, we can go.
Who is your assistant that you have? Have you changed over the years? Or
I'm sorry?
Your wife? Your assistant. Who is your assistant?
Yeah, I've got a couple that was. I have a couple that I switch off. My wife did assistant work for a little while. She does face painting and that, so she kind of faded out a little bit. But I got a couple of since Karen Burris and a couple others in the Chicago area that have worked with me, and we go through it. Honestly, in the Chicago area, I haven't done as many illusion shows as I'd like or would want to. However, one reason is because I do a big show solo, and I could charge more for the solo show than bringing out all the big props and everything. We do a beautiful thin model. I love my thin model, and I love my broom suspension. The routine of it, the music is just really gorgeous. Again, I like it. It's my opinion, but that's it. I mean, it is really pretty. But I've got illusions in my show, one-person illusions. I got a one-person illusion. It's modern art. I don't know if you know modern art or if you know if you have that. But it was redesigned where I do it myself. I get in it. I cut myself in half. I've got Walking Through Steel from Dan Wolfe. And then I do a chair levitation, and I get so much out. My chair levitation is just, the reactions are great. Again, I'm not embellishing, and I'm not being braggy. It's just the chair levitation is so good. I've gotten in tips on Facebook with the Zany Blaney ladder levitation. Gorgeous levitation. I feel the reaction from that to a chair suspension, the reaction is here, and Blaney's down here. Just from my viewing of people doing Zany and of me doing the chair. Just from my observation again.
Wow.
And I just got a slice of. I'm sorry?
I was just saying, I can see where people would say opposite of that, but yeah. It's all what you do with it. It's what you do with the prop.
Right. And the Zany Blaney is a geniusly engineered prop, no doubt about that. But to me, okay, you take the first you got the thick board. I'm going to get in trouble for this. You got the thick board and a cloth, and then you take a ladder out, and now she's kind of suspended, and now you take the second ladder out, and there's no boom. Now she's just there. And now you got to put as far as the chair suspension, you take the chair suspension out. Ooh, okay, you're holding the board, and then you drop that board, and I slam that board on the ground, and she is just dead straight. My chair suspension was made by a name named Sandy Rhodes. He was in Oklahoma. Now I think he's on the East Coast somewhere. And not that I want to, I could put a 125, 130 pound, 40 pound person up there, and they would be dead straight. I've had volunteer or gentlemen help me if they're moving my props. They grab my chairs and they almost pull their arm out because they thought they were flimsy wood when they're really heavy duty. So they even look like they're just a ballpark wooden flimsy chair. So again, you get the pop with that. To me, again, it's my opinion. I've seen a couple guys do it, and I've heard the audience reaction, and that's what I go by. Just the audience reaction just doesn't equal, for me, the reaction of the ladder to the chair.
Well,
that's just me.
Look at it's
now,
with the prop. You don't need something big. Look at you could have somebody at a magic competition do Zany Blaney, and then you can have Matt King come out with a deck of cards and kill. But you got Zany Blaney right there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's all what you do with the prop.
Yeah. And right. If I'll toot my own horn again, I do Blackstone's Vanishing Birdcage, the red one. I've been doing it for 35, 40 years. I just performed at Abbott's. I opened up the Wednesday night show at Abbott's. And everybody, the compliments I got on my birdcage, I don't even move. My hands are here and I go like this and it's gone. I mean, there's no arm movement. I have perfected that over the years so long. And that's another one. People are going, oh, well, yeah, but that looks like you can't hold it with one hand. I'll give the Zany Blaney cage, and I've seen a couple guys do it very pretty, The Zany Blaney cage has two advantages to the Blackstone cage. One, you can hold it with one hand. In my opinion, the audience doesn't care or doesn't know. And the other one, that's silver and shiny and pretty, which is gorgeous. The red cage is nice. It's a nice red cage, nice parakeet in it. Audience, again, doesn't care. When I watch the Blaney illusion, for most guys, there is an arm movement like this. You got to come like this. You got to come like this, like this. If you can stay like this and go like this, and the cage is gone, there's the illusion. That it doesn't telegraph anything. One arm movement can telegraph that cage going anywhere. And what Zany Blaney did, which was really cool, he would go back behind his butt and pull out another rigid cage from the back of his jacket. I don't know. I'm a magician. Maybe I overthink it. But if I was a layperson, I go, where did he get that cage? It was in his back pocket. And then he pulled out another one. It was in his... Oh, wait a minute. It collapses. Again, yeah, and I'm not dissing on Zany Blaney, but I'm just comparing what I do and what I think is amazing in my show compared to what I could have or should do. If I saw something more amazing, I would obviously change. But I would never reproduce it out of the back of my pocket. To me, it's telegraphing where it came from. And Zany Blaney did it wonderfully. But again, if you watch his arms go up. Keep your arms right here. Do not move your arms. Make that cage vanish. Just don't move. So again, I'm very proud of it. I got a lot of, people came up to me at Abbott's this year and go, you didn't even move. And the thing just vanished, And I love Blackstone. Blackstone and Henning were my mentors in a way. I knew Henning just a little bit. I knew Harry Blackstone Jr. a little bit more. Not that we hung out, but like at Abbott's, I would see Harry and we'd talk a little bit and stuff. I met, as you can see in back here, I got a Polaroid of me and Doug at one of the shows in Chicago when he performed here. But I was at Terry Evanswood's house last year, and he wanted me to help him with the Vanishing Bird cage. And I'm a little bit bigger than Terry. And I go, I could love to show you, but I don't have a jacket with me. I could show you the basics. I could hold that cage just like and he goes, let me get you a jacket. He comes down with a sequenced Harry Blackstone Jr. jacket.
Oh God!
And it was big on me. So I get goosebumps. I got to perform the Blackstone cage in a Blackstone jacket. And so that was, I can't thank Terry enough for doing that. And so that was, and then performing the stage at Abbott's where Blackstone did the cage. So to me, that is just phenomenal. There's not a lot you could top, for me anyways, that, because like I said, Blackstone, to me, Blackstone and Henning were the epitome of stage performances. Blackstone commanded the stage, his voice, the command he had, and then the Doug Henning of the originations and the fun, they always laugh at the puppy dogs and rainbows that he had, but he made magic fun. Copperfield is great, obviously a billionaire or whatever, but I don't know if you can say Copperfield was fun. When you left the Henning show, it was fun. And it was amazing. Copperfield, you didn't have the fun part of it, And I was trying to make it fun as well as amazing. So that's where you get the combination of all that. So those were my two kind of mentors as far as the stage goes.
So going back to your show and talking about stilt walking, we were trying to book this, and it took about 12 emails to lock you down.
Yep.
We're just all over the place. We had Tuesday evening open, and you're like, can't do it. Okay, we have a smaller, I like to give people a whole block, right? We have that day open. Nope, can't do it. Okay, what about this day? Nope, can't do it. What about this day? Nope, can't do it. You're working. I love it. So we are doing it on a Sunday evening after you got home from shows because you had a stilt walking gig, you had a magic show.
Right.
What else do you do besides stilt walking, magic show, illusion show? Do you have other things you offer?
No, really, it's just strolling magic, smaller, small stage show, full stage illusion show, stilt walking. I do balloons. I'm a magician that does balloons. I'm not a balloonist that does magic. So I do like 40 nice balloons. I'll do line work if someone needs some, a fill in. It's not my I call it guerrilla warfare when you got 100 people in line and you just got to keep making balloons. not my thing, and I'm trying to avoid that a little bit more. But I do nice balloons, but not those huge ones that they're coming out now. But other than that, no, I don't do any other forms of entertainment. I could juggle three of anything, but I never put that in my show. I can't draw, so that's why my wife is a face painter. So yeah, but the stilt walking and the magic is basically all I've done since I was 13 years old. This is full time for me since then. I don't know if you want to digress a little bit going back to then as far as the close-up strolling type magic. I said I learned under Bill Malone with a little bit of magic. The other person that I learned under, who from all counts I've heard, and you could talk to Tom Dobrowolski because he's done lectures about Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan was the epitome bar magician. He really started bar magician in Chicago. That's where Chicago was almost the origination of bar magic. And so he was, I was young. He was much older, obviously. But he took me under his wing, and I got to learn a lot from Jim. Jim Ryan was fantastic. I got to louse up this deck. He'd lick his thumb and just kind of shuffle it up, just the way Jim was. And I used to do his cups and balls routine with sponge balls. I had long red hair back then, actually a lot more than I have now. But he'd always go, "Hey, Red, come over, show me my cups and balls routine," And that's how he spoke and stuff. So I'd show him his cups and balls routine because he loved me doing it back then. And so Jim Ryan was another big influence for my strolling magic and sleight of hand. And he was just a fabulous person. Along with Ernie, the other famous bar magician in Chicago, was Ernie over at the old barn. Ernie was great. I unfortunately never got to the New York Lounge. I was a little bit too young at that time. They wouldn't let me in. But to see like Heba Abba Al, Bob Sheets, I believe, was there. Bill Malone was there, and quite a few others. So I didn't get to see them, but they were icons of Chicago. Was the New York Lounge, was the other icon magic bar, as well as Shulian's on Irving Park. I never got to meet Matt Shulian. I met his son a couple times, but Shulian's was another place of magic lounge as well. And those were North Side's. Bit of Magic was the South Side Magic Lounge. It was more just magic as opposed to being a bar with magic. A little bit of magic was magic. So, but that's where I again started, and everything kind of evolved almost all at once. My strolling magic, my stage magic, I kind of learned everything all at once. Just kept developing and doing and developing and doing, and people, gosh darn it, people liked me and they called me. And so I ended up making it a career. I mean, even in high school, I was, doing shows in high school. I'd leave school, a half a day if I had shows or whatever. And I just kept building my show up. And I've learned, have 3 of everything, 2 to 3, and I've got 2 to 3 of a ton of my props. Yeah, exactly. So you've learned the same thing. You just have to. Especially, I buy tricks that are roadworthy, especially like shepherd props and things like that, because you need it like that. You can't have them break. But there are certain things. I've got 7 La Palomas. Those are, Neil Foster invented that trick. I put a dove in, the plate goes through the dove, and blah, blah, blah. You got a La Paloma up there?
I do.
Somewhere?
On the wall.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So I have 7 of them. And Chesaday has fixed every one and repainted every one for me. And so, they just, they're made by Abbott's, and I'm not saying anything bad, but, I've gone through them, and little things break. I got to bring to Chesaday, and then I just grab one off the shelf and boom, go. There's no break in the show. So that's just, the way I've eventually learned. You just got to get multiples of them, and you got to bite the bullet. And the other thing is cases. I don't need any of the big ATA flying cases because I don't fly, but I have a great case company here called Custom Case. They're right by Midway Airport, and I have brought in all the weirdest props you can, and they've been so good to me, and they have, they developed their cases. I'm pretty good at organizing and coming up with how to make cases and how to put props in and out the way it should go, and man, they just do it great. So everything's cased in a certain way, and a lot of fiber cases, some padded cases, but everything's cased. And so that's the other thing. No props are out, and so that's one reason that you think it takes longer to pack up and get out. Maybe, however, you pack it in your van. It goes in the van so much faster because you got a system. Boom, 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 boom. They go there. You're done. You never have to worry about them getting ruined. It's in there. It's very scientific, by the way. But, it just makes it so much easier. And I don't want to say it's a well-oiled machine, but it's a well-oiled machine. I'm always saying I'm the 2-minute magician. Not for that reason you're thinking of. Don't think that. But the reason is, if you call me up for a show, all I've got to do is get my doves, get my dog, and get in the van and leave. Everything is always in my van. It's never taken out. My clothes are never taken out. The only time they're taken out, obviously, if they get washed or, I never wear my clothes to my shows, my show clothes to my shows. If they get dirty, what are you going to do? It doesn't take me long to change. So the clothes show lasts a lot longer when you don't wear them out. And I usually go out to concerts or something right after my shows anyways. So I need my going out clothes. But yeah, you call me up and you can get a show in an hour because I'm all ready. Get the doves, get the dog, and I'm gone. Now get the dragon, my Drogon, which, like I said, I was going to bring him out, but I forgot to bring him out for you. But it's just things you learn. You learn how to pack up faster. The size show I do in a home birthday party, 5 doves production. The doves to dog, the whole dove act just alone takes a lot. It's a big act even for a home. A backdrop, I use a jet set for a backdrop, and I can still set that whole show up in about 13, 14 minutes. And do a whole full show. So again, I've learned how to go fast and get to the next show. Got to keep it moving. So. Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Once I set my backdrops up, everything's behind there anyways. I can set up. People can watch me. It's just when they watch you, they're trying to get there. I am very protective of my secrets and that. I get, they are not allowed near my backdrop, near my props. I don't like exposing anything. So I'm a little bit, I've had dads come up looking at my chair suspension because that's usually I close with that, and they're starting to touch it and look at it and go, excuse me, you have to be nowadays a little bit more rude, because they are a little bit more bolden and just start looking and start touching and. But I'm very protective, and I try to be as secret as possible where they don't get to see anything. But yeah, I don't care if they're in there or not. They wouldn't even know I have animals. They can watch me set up my whole show. They wouldn't even know I have animals till I actually produce them during the show.
Right.
So, but I try to be very as secretive as possible.
So in a house show, I can't bring my dolly in because you're going to take it down the steps and in the backyard and through the living room or whatever, right? So it's piece by piece. We're taking it from the van, RV, whatever. Natalie will stay there in the living room and just watch my equipment as I make trips because I don't want anybody touching anything. Even if it's a toy that rolls over there, you can't trust them. You can't trust them for a second. And dads, you're exactly
right. Yeah.
Dads won't lift a finger helping you bring anything in or even offer. But once you levitate the kid, they're like, "Can I help you carry that carpet out? Can I help you carry that chair suspension out to the car?"
Exactly.
I got it, man. I got it.
Yeah.
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 So
but the thing that, like I said, but talking about cases, I do bring everything all in at once, and everything is all cased. So then once all the cases are in, and I do get a little help. I've been asking for help a little bit more as I'm getting older, and most people are very helpful. So everything can come right in, and then I've got a system. This case opens up for the doves, the stand for the doves, the dog, for the jet set, and then that case goes over there, and so I can, once it's all in, then I can keep going.
We will for the rest of
it. Not that you look good before, but you're clearer on the video.
Well, and when it uploads, it'll use our footage and use your footage, our audio, your audio. It'll look like there was nothing wrong. It's like magic. So
cool.
Anyway, all right. So let's start back here. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So when we were talking before we started recording, you held up a book and you were talking about the history of Chicago magic.
Right. This was written by Bill Weimer. He worked at almost all the magic lounges in Chicago, and it is a comprehensive book of all the lounges. It's awesome. It's about Bill and I owned the third bit of Magic Lounge. We all worked at the original lounges, and it's just a great thing of Chicago bar magic. So if you can find a copy, you might have one on Amazon, or maybe a magic shop might have it, or just contact Bill Weimer. Bill Weimer right there. Great guy. He's very innovative magician too. He does close-up magic. Very innovative, very funny. So I recommend that. The other thing is, I want to show you this. Like I said, I was talking a lot about Walter Shepard, and this is him right there. That's Walter and Helen, and there's some pictures of me and Walter and all that. Mike McDade, Tom Rosoff, some really good friends, magician friends. But Walter and Helen toured. They did over 300 school shows a year. And so he lived in Vandalia, Ohio. So he ended up making all his equipment. Then he started making it for other magicians. And it is roadworthy. It's gorgeous. He did hand wet sand painted 7 coats of paint over each prop. So you might have blue under red, under green. You never know color until you have the final color. But he would hand wet sand each prop. And it was like glass. You can't even see any grain of wood. That's how gorgeous it is. So that's Walter, one of my mentors. And then this little guy here, we were talking about Drogon and all the animals. That's Drogon. Drogon the bearded dragon. Say hi, Drogon.
Wow.
So he is so cool producing them during the show. People just love him. As a matter of fact, he's pointing right there is Dean Vitale with the zigzag. That's him many years ago. He was a magician, but he's my marketing director to vitalneed.com too. So he does all my online marketing, anything on my Facebook website, things like that. So, but that's Drogon. So those are the kind of wrap it up, the different things we spoke about. All these are my opinions, my experiences from 45 years full-time in magic, and what I have developed and came up with, and what works for me, and what works for me in Chicago especially. I love Chicago. It's to me my opinion, greatest city in the world. Just over 250 theaters in Chicago alone. You can perform anywhere and go anywhere and do anything. So it's just my opinions, but I enjoy it. I've enjoyed a great magical life. Have a lot of great magical friends. It's nice to finally meet you, Wes and Natalie. So I really had a great time.
So when you say after shows you go out and you go to see shows, are you going home dropping off the animals, or do you have everything in the car?
Yeah, usually everything's in the car.
Okay.
All the animals are in their travel cases. Obviously, if it's extreme heat or extreme cold or anything like that, But I don't do that too often. A lot of times when I do go out with my friends, I'll have to pick them up and I'll take the animals and drop them off in their house. But I still have my magic van and my magic, all the magic stuff. And my van is all muraled, so a couple of times I get priority parking. Like at the Allstate Arena, we went to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra with my kids. And I told them I had to get out of there because I have a show after this. And they put me up in a great spot to, because it's the magic van. They know I'm an entertainer as well. So they put me up in a great spot to park. So that was kind of cool.
I've never tried that.
No.
Yeah.
A gig.
Yeah.
Can I park?
It was true. But and like I said, my van is all muraled. It has my logo on it. Call John, my phone number, website, all that. And I like that. In my opinion, I think it's safer. People go, oh well, they'll know magic equipment is in there. Well, absolutely, they would know. If they did look and they looked in the window, they would see all these beautiful band cases, because all my cases look like band cases. As you know, they're all black and have handles, and they look like drum kits and sound. And they go, oh, look at that, and they'll grab it, they'll steal it, open it up, and go, what's this crap? That's basically, even though it's nice stuff. But I think that it's a little bit more is safer when you have your logo on it. And people that have nefarious ideas will go, what am I going to do with magic? Unless they just want to be jerks and just do it. So I personally think that's safer. Plus, too, going to shows. You know how impressive it is with the pulling up to the shows and everybody sees the magic van coming, Measner Magic over. And, I do a lot of fairs and festivals. If I don't have the show truck, I have my van, and they go, who are you? I go, I'm here. I'm the magician. Oh, okay, go right through. Or have parking in weird spots for shows themselves where you normally would. But come on, man, I got to unload equipment. I'll be only here an hour and a half. And it really helps in parking, unloading, getting in, getting out. I always try to park at the closest door, obviously, and try to leave it as close as possible. I'm not one to unload and park 3 blocks down. That's not what I try to do. Every once in a while it happens, but most of the time I get priority parkings because I'm the entertainer,
Well,
but
tip I got from a good magician friend of mine, Vincent Mendoza. He has steps in his contract. If I have to do a flight of steps, it's going to cost you extra. So think about that. That's something to put.
That's interesting.
I love that.
Yeah.
As I'm getting older, it's starting to be smarter and smarter. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy if they just actually carry my equipment up, though. if they carry my equipment up, I don't need a few more bucks. I mean, that's kind of cool though. But I do try to make it easy on my customers as well. I mean, I have an e-fax. My old fax line, which I had a dedicated fax line, is now e-fax. I pay $19 a month, and I don't know. We were on Facebook, and someone said something, and I said, "Oh yeah, I have my fax." I get like 3 faxes a year from people signing contracts, and someone wrote, "Oh well, I tell my customers what to do. I wouldn't let them do it." Well, no, you don't tell your customers what to do. If your customers fax, that's what they do. Because if you do, believe it or not, I think you do some fairs and stuff, Wes. If you do a lot of county fairs, they're still not really, they're getting there, but not exactly up on the high technology, and they still use faxes and things like that. Like I said, I get 3 faxes a year.
It's farmers, and the committee meets twice a year. So why update the equipment? Yeah.
Right, exactly. But I try to make it as easy on my customers as possible. I mean, I make it easy on me and them, but a little more on my side. But you gotta give compromise. You don't tell your customers how to engage in their business. I don't know where you're going, Drogon, but like I said, I can just speak from experience. Just like you, I do about 350 to 400 shows a year. I'm busy all the time. Like you just said, this is Mardi Gras day. I've got my Mardi Gras shirt on. The last 5 days have been Mardi Gras. Last night, my wife and I were at a Mardi Gras auction. I did stilt walking, and then I did strolling, and she did face painting, all in Mardi Gras. Tomorrow I've got one, and Tuesday I got Fat Tuesday. So it's like all Mardi Gras, and then changes from Mardi Gras into St. Patrick's Day, and then again just birthdays, and then all of a sudden April comes up with all communions and baptisms, things like that, and then you get your summer day camps, daycares. Last couple of years, literally 2 to 3 shows every single day between the end of May and the middle of August. Every single day, and weekends were busier. Again, I'm not embellishing. It's just in fact what it is. And I work hard at what I do. I think everybody else does. And I put on a great show. Oh, and Walter Shepard, who I just showed you, he taught me, give them more than they expect.
Right.
Give them more. And
Yeah.
I always try to, I mean, even like last night, our contract was supposed to end at 7:30, and their auction went forever. We didn't get done till 20. By the time their auction got done, I still did magic. Audra still did face painting. We didn't get out of there till 9:15. So what? What am I going to do in that extra hour? I mean, I understand things run long. I'm not charging them anything more. I know I was contracted till 7, but hey, I got to eat something, hang out, and oh, you're going to fall. He fell. But so I mean, you gotta give them, again. Walter says, give them more than what they expect, and they do. I got tons of adults going, I didn't expect this, especially when I open up with the vanishing bird cage. That shuts everybody up. When I do that trick and open up, and that's what I open up with, the adults go, oh, here comes the little magician. I open up with that trick in the first 45 seconds, they go, oh. And then I go into my dove act. And then from there, I've got them. So again, you give them more than what they expected. Packs big, plays big. That's my motto. What's a motto? Nothing motto with you. What's the motto with me? I don't know. Just trying to be silly.
All right, dude.
But
I'm telling you, this has been so much fun. Thank you. I have a Facebook group. I'm gonna get all these videos because I was going on Facebook and looking at all your promo videos over the years. That video that shows your truck opening up and setting that up. That's amazing for fairs and festivals.
Thanks. Yeah, and that's my older truck actually. Oddly enough, in Pennsylvania, long story, a lady kind of clipped me. I went in the marsh and my truck went bam. So then I ended up buying a new truck in Chicago. Driving down to Pennsylvania, the old truck got stripped with the stage and everything. They recreated it into the newer truck too. So now it looks a little different, but the same. And now I've got seasonal sets too. Like the one you saw was black and green. Now it's changed over. I've got pink and blue for general. I've got black and orange for fall, all my fall shows. I've got green and white because I do a couple Irish fests. So now all my vinyls and skirtings and that are changeable in a heartbeat. And I theme the whole truck out to whatever type of. I'm going to be doing Italian Fest on Taylor Street in Chicago this year for Ron Onesti. and it's changing over to Italian, red, white, and green. So the whole truck it just changes now with whatever theme I need, unless it's just general. I like the blue and pink. Again, very bright colors. Looks like people walk by the truck and go, wow, there's something happening here. So that's why a lot of the festivals like that. I'm generator operated. I don't even need electricity to run everything. Runs air conditioning, sound in there, and everything. So I throw my generator and I'm good.
So, are you on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, website? Give all that before we wrap up.
I am on Facebook, John Measner Magic Show on Facebook. I think I've got an Instagram. Again, my marketing director does all the online. I'm pretty sure I'm on Instagram. Obviously, my website, jmmagic.com. That's my main site there. That's got everything on there. And my YouTube, I think, is jmmagic7 is my channel on YouTube. That's got just a couple new videos that just went up there too as well. That I just put up there, some compilations. So, but yeah, I'm good with the internet, but I don't have time to do it. So I have a marketing guy that does all that kind of stuff. And if you go to John Measner Magic Show, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff on my Facebook page. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this today. I appreciate it. We had fun. This was awesome.
I appreciate it, Wes Iseli. It's a pleasure meeting you over that. I hope to get to see you sometime. I'm going to the Collectors Weekend in Vegas in May. I don't know if you're going to be there. I'm so thrilled. They're doing the David Copperfield Museum Tour, and I cannot wait. As you know, obviously I'm the prop guy, and I love props. David has got such a collection from what I have heard, and I'm just so excited. He's going to give a tour himself, and that's going to be absolutely fabulous being there. And I'm also going to go to FISM this year. I'm kind of biting the bullet. It is July. We're going for 2 weeks. My wife and I are going to do a little tour of Italy and then be in FISM at Italy, my first FISM I've ever been to. So I'm very excited for that. I don't know if I can handle 6 days in a row of magic like that, but we'll see. That might get a little much. So, but I love it.
Yeah, no such thing as being too much. You'll be all right. You'll make it.
Yeah, I know, right?
So. Well, dude, thank you. Only thing we have left to say is see you next week.
Check us out online at wesiseli.com and patreon.com/Wes_Iseli for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled WESISELI.